So just a bit of an agenda. So we're going to start by going through our event, the agenda and some of the technical details that you'll want to know. And then Andrea is going to go through the resources with you. But most of the session will just be giving you an opportunity to actually share your delivery models that you're planning on delivering within your school board so that we can get ideas from each other. So our Entrepreneurship in the Trades event is happening on March 3rd from 9:30 a.m. to 11 o'clock a.m. And the agenda for the morning is basically, it kicks off with our host and a keynote session at 9:30. And then we have different breakouts depending on our sector. So we have motive power, industrial, construction, or service. There's two breakouts where we have tradespeople and entrepreneurs sharing. And then the third one's a question and answers with the chosen entrepreneurs. And then we'll do a short closing at 10:55. And I will put this PowerPoint into the chat as well, so you can get onto all the links, because now all the speakers are there as well. Just a few technical details. So basically what we have is our Entrepreneurship in the Trades event website. And that's what you'll log in with as teachers and students. Are you able to see the site? Can someone just tell me, are you okay here? I'm not sure if it's going between windows. I wanted to test, but.
You're good, we can see it.
Perfect. Okay, so this is just a draft of the site, and you'll be able to kind of look around right now. It's not quite done yet, but it's getting there. So none of the breakouts are populated correctly with the people. But basically on that day, you'll refer all your students to the site, and everything will be recorded so you can refer back after. And they click on here, and they're just links to all the different breakouts. So once I put this presentation in the chat, you'll be able to actually kind of log on and just have a look around here, but we will let you know when it's fully launched. So what happens is the links on the website will direct the students to YouTube live streams, and they'll basically just be consuming the content. So this is an interactive event. It'll be anonymous, so no student registration is required and no chat function. They'll just be there kind of consuming the content. And what we'll do is we'll have a form on our website, on our event website, where students can submit questions through for the Q&A session. The way it's set up, students can either choose to stick with construction, industrial, motive power, or service, or they can flow between in the breakout sessions, depending on whether they're in one specialization or their business or their interests. And all of these will be recorded and posted so that you can either use it live on that day, or teachers can basically use them to deliver whenever it works best for them. Again, there's a link to all the speakers. It's still a draft of their bios, but we're so excited with the event and how it's been coming together. So our host is Sam Dema. He's a youth motivational speaker, and our English keynote is Paige Knowles. So she's a plumbing student, she's a trades advocate, and she's actually an author of a children's book called Plumber Paige, and she's 19 years old. Pretty phenomenal. So we're really excited to have her. And then these are all those speakers, the construction, industrial, motive power, and service. We're now fully booked, which is fantastic. And when I post this in the chat, just after I leave my presentation role, you'll be able to click on the speakers and just get a little bit of a bio of each, but that will all be on the event website eventually. And just to note that we are collecting raffle prizes, tools, swag, other prizes to get to your students. So the way we're going to operate, because we don't have you actually registering and logging in, so we're basically we have quite a few good top prizes already. We're still collecting if you have anyone in your local area that might donate, but what we'll do is Opti will do a raffle and draw for the large prizes, which school board will get them. And then we'll organize, we're trying to get 3 to every school board. And what we'll do is we'll send them to you and then let you raffle with your students that participated the prizes. So that's really all the kind of technical details, but we'll have time for questions at the end. We'll just quickly move through here. So just moving into the resources, and we always want to pull you back and let you know that we have quite a few specialized skills major resources available to you now through our curriculum consortium. So definitely check out that page for others. But now what I'm going to do is turn it over to Andrea and let her go through the resources for the event.
Thanks, Christine. Hi, everybody. So this will be, hope everyone's doing well and cozy today. This will be a little bit of a recap from what we presented in December. So we have two different SPE resources that we created over the summer. There's an ICE-based one called Your Inner Entrepreneur and a math-based one, Costing of a Starting of a Business. So each of these have a teacher slide deck that can be modified to whatever delivery model you're looking for. They're broken down into pre and post assignments. The Inner Entrepreneur has some really specific pre and post sections. The Costing of a Starting of a Business has 6 clear modules that you could do all in one shot or break down over a period of time. These can go along with our event, or you can organize something locally as well. And we've got Google and non-Google versions for you as well. So I'm not sure, do we have, yeah. So here is our overview. Thanks, Christine. Here's our overview of the Inner Entrepreneur Roadmap. You can see there's a pre-activity survey that really models the those of us that did the ICE program when the Ministry of Ed launched that. It models that, but focuses more intensely on the entrepreneurship piece. And then our we have 6 modules. 1 through 3 are your pre, and then 4 through 6 are your post, and then there's a follow-up survey. And I think our next slide, yeah, here's our pre-event materials, just to give you a little sneak peek. Module 1 has students taking a look at what is entrepreneurial ventures like overall, different activities, different types of ventures, and some famous Canadian entrepreneurs. And I have some examples in there that are sort of broad sector based, but those can be customized to suit your SHSM sector. And then module 2 takes a look at you becoming an entrepreneur, or why become an entrepreneur, so the impact on the Canadian economy, and some brainstorming activities. Module 3 has students looking at their entrepreneurial traits. And I've pulled 12 to 15 sort of classic entrepreneurial traits with definitions, and they will connect their skills. That one's probably the bigger of the 3 modules in your pre-activity. You probably want to spend about 90 minutes for that, the whole thing. Here's an example. In the slide deck, there's 2 slide decks for this. One is the student handbook or slide deck. And each module has its own sort of placemat that sort of guides the students through the different sections. And then you can see the corresponding example of a connecting slide with the content that's delivered. I've done a lot of interactive stuff through this SPE. These are tried and true in my entrepreneurship classes and my business classes. So some interactive pieces, getting them problem solving, creative thinking, that sort of things that models ICE. In our post event, we have 4 different modules again to follow up. So module 4 has students taking a look at the sector entrepreneurs that they saw at the event and sort of summarizing the standout take homes that they received. Module 5 connects their learning of their entrepreneurial skills in module 3 with the entrepreneurial skills that they witnessed or that their entrepreneurs from the event talked about. And then it has them considering, like, is this a valid career path, right? So they're in a trade, but is also running their own business as something that they would consider. Module 6 has them walking through a really simple version of the summer company template to get them thinking about running their own business. Some really basic math skills in there too. And you can see here, there's the student placemat, right? And all of this can be customized for your kids and how they learn or what they need. And then again, the accompanying slide that relates from the teacher's slide deck. And here's the module 5 example of the student template to get them to reflect and connect from the event. Lots of different inspiration and quotes in there again. So getting the kids thinking about, having ideas and then translating into execution into an actual business plan. This is the a little example you'll see in the bottom right of a screen capture of the startup budget questioning. There's lots of resources, even for teachers that aren't comfortable with delivering content or not familiar with Summer Company. It's all laid out there. Some specific fees have been put in there. Those can be customized for wherever area you're in, or just run with it to get kids thinking about.
Is timekeeping at 6? So 6.
The math SPE, the costing of starting a business, our summer writer for this one, she is a construction teacher. She worked really hard on providing a really excellent scaffolded process for kids costing out an actual business once they finish their apprenticeship. So this is very focused on the apprenticeships and the trades. And it is a much bigger version of a business plan than what we saw in the Inner Entrepreneur. So you can see the overview of the 6 modules. That's great. I think we can go to the next one. Thanks, Christine. So like I said, this one is 6 distinct modules, and it's up to the teachers delivering this, and them knowing their kids. If you wanted to do this spread over sort of six different periods or chunk them down, there's not sort of specific pre and post pieces. So the very first module has them looking at, here's you're in this trade, what will your business be? So looking at the NOC, career handbook, doing a SWOT analysis and figuring out what your specific scope of the business is. And again, this SPE has the teacher slide deck and then some corresponding worksheets. Those are in a Word or a Google Doc to help them sort of brainstorm and scaffold. There is another Word and Google Doc, excuse me, that helps them organize the math, the adding up of all of the expenses and the needs of the business plan. Your second step in module looks at costing. So researching the business and the one-time startup costs. So what do you need to get started with right off at the top? Excuse me. So you can see here, we've got some examples of the teacher slide deck at the top here. So, coaching and scaffolding the kids. What are you looking for? And then we've embedded, the writers embedded specific costs for students to consider. So they often don't even realize it costs money to search for a name and register and that sort of thing. So those are given there for you. Excuse me, it's dry in my classroom. So again, these can be changed to suit the area, but that content is fairly accurate and an eye-opener for the kids for sure. Module 3 looks at those monthly expenses. So getting kids, the next step is looking at what do you have to pay every single time. So yes, there's startup costs, but there's also things that you need to think about every month. So location, property insurance, phone, vehicle, liability, and utilities. Excuse me. And you can see from the slides here that it's giving teachers and the students those guided questions to help set up the learning and the activity for each module. The fourth module gets you looking at salaries. So kids always forget to pay themselves. Crazy, right? So that's the first thing we take a look at, is how to pay yourself. And there's also some really specific structured walkthroughs on how to calculate employee wages and taking a look at WSIB and CPP contributions as well. The fifth module is looking at reflection. Is this all realistic. So this is when the worksheet on adding up all of those costs, and they sort of get the number. Oh my gosh, is this doable? So it's also looking at your training and designation for your apprenticeship, that looking at the monthly expenses. There's a walkthrough on how to price jobs. And then giving some financial forecasting. How many jobs can I do per month? And then what does that look like in a monthly forecast? And can that cover my expenses? So looking at some basic accounting stuff, cost of goods sold, break-even analysis, and your cost evaluation. And again, sorry, just to circle back to number 5, everything is in the slide deck. It's all laid out for the kids and for the teacher. The last one is integrating some technology. There's a really great video incorporated in the resources on how to use an app called Wave. And in the app, it lets you have students create an invoice for their business that they've just costed out. There is also a game of chance involved in this module, and it is a pretty good it's a good benchmark of risk assessment, right? And if kids are playing the game or a little risk adverse, maybe entrepreneurship is not quite their thing, but it is a really good event to add in and to get them thinking about that aspect of entrepreneurship. There is an add-on certification for customer service that was created as well. And it's got 5 little modules. And if you wanted to extend it into like a sector partner experience, bringing in a company related to your sector that has a customer service issue, you could make it into, like, expand it into an SPE. So we can take a quick look at the different modules. There's lots of little videos in here, connect and reflect activities. And it's pretty broad overview. Trying to create something for customer service that works for every sector. So it's pretty broad in the big take homes that we want kids to know. So if we can move on. So there's a few warm-up activities looking at videos. So a lot of video integrated into this particular one. And like you said, a lot of think, pair, share. So if you have a group, there's a lot of interaction built in if you can deliver this in person. Module 1 takes a look at the definitions and the relevance of customer service, and as a profitability model, right? And just as the right thing to do. And again, there's a teacher slide deck and then a student slide deck that corresponds with the content. And the student slide deck is built sort of placemat style with and kids can type in their answers or write them in, whatever makes them happy. Module 2 takes a look at those essential skills and traits. And Disney has been pulled in here as an example. They use some just 5 great general keys to guest experience and guidelines. There's lots of resources for that too, in terms of blogs and video and that sort of thing. So there's some investigate and describe. And then this module ends with a customer service action plan. And you can see a picture of that here, looking at some of those key qualities and skills of customer service, and they can do sort of a strengths and weaknesses analysis on themselves. What do I have? How can I keep up the momentum? What skills can I improve on, and how do I do that? Module 3 is super fun, surprise and delight. Sort of a tactics that companies can use to just make their customers happy. There's a lot of great videos out there, and students can choose from. And after this module, everybody should be in a good mood. There's some really fun stuff in there. Module 4 has us looking at typical customer scenarios. So applying. There's some scenarios. So in figuring out how to handle them. So there are some video examples: Big Bang, Love Actually, Friends. right, from different sort of industries, and then 6 common customer service scenarios. You know, something as simple as how do you answer the phone, right? Some kids don't know how to do that. And then there is at the end of most of the modules, there's a reflect, connect, and a demonstrate sort of activity, and some creativity in there. You know, can we connect a customer service problem from your sector, come up with a solution and a surprise and delight? And these things could be, you could do a script, you could act them out, right? You do a little video, like there's lots of wiggle room on this. And then we wrap up with customer service in your sector. So applying the relevance of, there's quotations built in throughout from different business leaders, and we're applying some of those quotes to your sector, and then identifying some really common customer service issues and experiences within your SHSM sector. And all of these have certificates included in the teacher slide deck, so those can be printed when the kids finish it. We've got lots of delivery options. They can be shared and kids walk through them. Teachers can deliver them, or it can be blended. So whatever is working within your board at this time and within your school.
Thanks so much, Andrea. And we'll have, we're just about to open it up, so we'll have time for some questions as well. But I'm going to throw it over to Donna and Lydia, and they're going to kick off our discussion by just sharing sort of how they plan to deliver the SPE event in their boards, and then we can have some discussion. I think Donna, Lydia?
You want me to go for?
Sure. Go ahead. Thank you.
So I will share first. I am going to put a link in the chat, and this is just a quick summary of what we are doing in Halton. And so we have right now about between 70 and 80 students that have signed up to have the Your Inner Entrepreneur delivered to the SHSM students. So we've given the kids 3 different options. It's an after school session, an afternoon session, or self-directed. And so we've reworked the resources that Andrea has presented, added a few things like for when we start looking at entrepreneurs, we actually have one of our SHSM grads who actually runs her own business, and she's creating a little 5-minute video where she shares her entrepreneurial experiences to help, and talks about her skills and traits and things like that. So that's one of the modifications we did because we don't know the students that we're going to be working with. We've also changed one of the activities that Andrea had used on like observing the group that you're with. And we've put in a little mini observation test where you have a few minutes where you look at a room and try and remember what you see. So we more or less are using exactly what was sort of created, but with a Halton twist. So we've used Halton summer company entrepreneurs and videos showcasing them. But more or less, we're focusing on that one part. And like I said, we're giving the students the option of working through the package on their own, us delivering it to them and working through it with us. So we're gonna, when we do deliver it, module 1 and 2, Veronica and I are going to deliver to the group of students. And then we've actually got some other IPLs that are gonna come in for module 3 so we can get into smaller breakout groups and work with 5 or 10 different students.
Great, thanks, Donna. Does anyone have any questions for Donna? Otherwise, I'll throw it over to Lydia and she can share what you're planning to do in your board. She's here, or we can open it up as well. Does anyone else want to ask questions or share how you plan to deliver the SPE?
I think Lydia was said in the chat that she's having audio and video connection issues. Maybe she kicked out of the conference and is trying to get back in. Who knows if somebody's watching the waiting room.
Okay, thanks for letting me know that. It's hard to follow everything at once here. Does anyone else have any ideas, or do you have any questions for us about the event?
I just readmitted Lydia.
Oh, thank you. It didn't come up that she was waiting.
Christine, I can share what our board's chosen to do.
Great, thank you.
We're kind of more of a rural board, and we're very geographically diverse. And our SHISM programs have really struggled with trying to get everything running when things have been so hectic. So I have two incredible teachers that are actually going to go deliver in person for a full day to our different SHISM programs. And so what they've done is we have 7 schools, and anyone in grade 12 that needs the SPE has been signed up to go for that one full day. And we're sending in our kind of expert, our business type teacher, to deliver the content using all of the recordings. So they're going to use all of the resources, but deliver live in one location, say in the library, and do everything in one day. It's a one-stop shop. So it's the traveling roadshow of 7 schools.
Great, thank you so much for sharing. I don't know if we're going to get Lydia back, and we don't have to keep you longer than we need to today, but we definitely wanted to give an opportunity to ask questions and you know, just have a discussion. We're happy to share again. Also, I think that we should be able to launch that event website next week. So once we do that, we'll all be working, and then we'll also have our links to all of our YouTube live streams all set up, so we can make sure those are all working. Okay,
So
it seems like we did.
Lydia just texted me that her microphone won't work.
Yeah, well, it's hard to have these kind of sharing sessions over Zoom too. Everyone gets a little zoomed out. So we definitely just want to make sure everyone has the opportunity. Okay. Teachers.
So just so you know, that Ottawa board is, each of the SHISM leads are coming up with their own delivery model and delivering it independently, however they see fit.
Yeah, we have a question in the chat. If yeah, so you're saying deliver, but if anyone can share tips on how your teachers are planning to present, we're happy to like collect ideas too. This is sort of a new realm for us, so that's why we're making sure there's lots of support. But it's nice that the modules that were created are pretty flexible, so it pretty well gives you any option that you have to be able to deliver them. Any other questions? Okay, Justin's going to share a bit. Great. So he's having the students learn from home that whole day and do the pre-work and post-work on their teams. Just get it done, right? Very good. Okay, I think we're pretty quiet, so we can let everyone move on with their evening. Lydia said she just got kicked out again. Technology. Thanks for your patience with us. I guess it wouldn't be an Octi webinar if something didn't go wrong. But the good thing is it's not a webinar on the 3rd, it's an event. So that's going to go perfectly right, I'm sure. We're definitely doing all of the testing, and I'm glad this happened now. But we really appreciate your patience with us and your participation as well. And as soon as we have an update on the site and any other updates for you, we'll send them out through your school board leads, but also feel free to contact me anytime with any questions. Okay.
One thing, Christine, I just realized I didn't add for leads that Veronica and I have decided that we're going to print the student workbook because we feel that students are sick and tired of being on the computer. And so we've sent it to our board printing department. We're having them printed in color so that they have the actual true workbook in front of them. which we think will actually make it easier for students to complete what's required.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. That's the one thing about ICE and these virtual things, like seeing those students actually working together and collaborating and the stickies and the brainstorming, you know, like definitely something I'm missing with the virtual delivery, but it's great to have those in-print ideas too. Okay, I think we're all good. So again, thank you so much for participating, and we'll definitely be in touch. We're so excited for this event. A sincere thank you to our planning team, who we've been meeting almost every Wednesday morning at 7:15, 7:30 for the year. So they put an enormous amount of time in this, and I know that it's going to pay off on the day. So we're so excited to be hosting this and really appreciate your support. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.